we have a great presentation today with Jane and Danielle here from Sign Connection, and they are one of our newest preferred partners, and you've seen them at the convention if you were there. And we decided to get a webinar going, and without further ado, I think Jane, if you want to, or Danielle, if you want to introduce your company a little bit and take it away.
Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm Jane and I am the owner and the salesperson here at ADA Connection. So ADA Connection is a subsidiary of Sign Connection. ADA Connection is a brand new preferred partner for Sign World. We sell ADA signs wholesale. And Sign Connection has been part of the Sign World network for 27 years. So
I'm Danielle. I actually am the designer here at ADA Connection. I've been with Sign Connection for 3 years now. I've been a graphic designer for about 25 years. And so when I joined Jane here at Sign Connection and ADA Connection, it's been fun designing and creating the different types of ADA signage that we've been working on in monuments, and I've been having a lot of fun here. So we're hoping to share some of our expertise with you today.
So we have a presentation to show you. It's only about 20 minutes long. We'll show you some samples after that, and then we'll take questions from anybody. But we'll share our screen here and we can start the presentation. There we go. Yeah. All right. So the title of our presentation is Selling ADA Signs is Easy and Profitable. And ADA signs are one of my favorite types of projects. It mostly involves creating signage for new building projects and remodels. We at Sign Connection have worked on these projects for quite some time, but we recently opened up our ADA Connection to sell to Sign World stores on a wholesale basis so that we can help you build your business with these types of projects as well.
Today, we're going to show you some projects that we've worked on. We're going to talk about some types of signs that you can sell. And we're also going to go over who you can sell them to.
So these ADA sign projects, the reason that they're so fascinating is because these projects can often be valued from $80,000 to $100,000.
I imagine you're, excuse me, I imagine you're most likely creating signs for building and remodeling projects right now. This might consist of outdoor as well as interior signage that you're harmonizing with your customer's branding package.
So adding ADA signs to your product mix is like adding French fries to your burger order. It increases the amount of your sale. But in addition to increasing your sale, you can help your customers by making sure that their new or updated spaces are compliant with building and code regulations. So under the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA signs are required for every permanent room or space in a building. In addition to that, they're required at stairs, stairwells, elevators, and exits. So you can imagine that there's lots of these types of signs in most of these building projects. Other signs required under building code are evacuation maps, occupancy signs, and fire extinguisher signs. Directional signs and wayfinding signs are sometimes put into this same category. They are not usually required, but how often have you walked into a building and wondered which way to turn? So directional or wayfinding signs are often very helpful, and it's just another opportunity for you to add to your sale.
So speaking of a great sale, Jane, this was a fun project that we landed. It was wonderful to work on. It was a project here in Dayton, Ohio. It's a multifamily renovation project called JC Towers. The developer we worked with was out of Washington State, and we were super excited to join that team. This is a 12-story apartment building that had approximately 350 unit signs. In addition, we were able to work on that fantastic illuminated monument you see in the left corner. It has push-through letters. We also, on every level, were able to print and fabricate in-house these museum canvas prints. That was applied at every level. The vinyl and directional graphics and inspirational quotes were really fun. Those were located outside of every elevator opening. Evacuation maps. We also had a 3D acrylic logo that we applied in their lobby area that was applied to a vinyl printed mural that we supplied and installed. In this project, it was quite fun, as I mentioned before, but it was valued at about $80,000, so it was really extensive.
So the next question is, can you make ADA signs at your store? So we found out a long time ago that the sign industry is so extensive that it's difficult for any single sign company to have every machine to make every type of sign in-house. So for a long time, we purchased ADA signs from wholesale vendors, and we took a markup and we sold them along with our projects. There are many different ways to produce ADA signs. Photopolymer is a type of process that a lot of architects call out. Etching engraved with raster braille is a very labor-intensive process. But as you can see from the Muto printer on the screen, the newest and the best technology for ADA sign production is the Muto Direct Print printer. It's a 3D printer that prints 3D ink directly on a substrate, and it produces signs like you can see up in the left-hand corner. The backgrounds of all of those signs are an acrylic, and the print is on the second surface. So we can make prints that look like marble, we can make prints that look like wood, or any surface that your architect has spec'd in a project, we can recreate that print on your ADA signs. So direct print ADA signs are quicker to make, they're more economical, and because they can be printed in full color, they're beautiful. So ADA Connection can supply you with beautiful wholesale ADA signs quickly and at a cost that you can mark up anywhere from 75 to 120%. So now that you know where to get the signs, who do you sell them to? Developers are going to be your best customer because they have an extensive investment in the property and they want their signs to depict their brand. Sometimes the developer will put the sign package into the contractor's package. In that case, you'll work with the contractor directly. Building owners sometimes want to have a piece of the pie. They like to be part of the creative process and ensure that their signage is part of their own branding. So sometimes you'll work with the building owner or even their maintenance department. And architects are generally the people that draw the blueprints for building projects. And sometimes they'll refer you to the contractors or the developers. So the types of buildings that require the ADA signage are mostly multifamily housing, which is apartment buildings, healthcare facilities and hospitals, churches, and senior living facilities. These are all excellent projects for you to prospect. So this is a project that we did here at our store that we worked directly with the contractor. The value of this project was about $20,000. We provided exterior and interior signs, the monument sign with the Dibond panels, the 3D letters on the exterior signs and on the interior wall, some vinyl graphics on their windows. And of course, we placed an ADA sign at every permanent space inside the building.
So when working with a contractor, the first thing you might receive or request are blueprints such as these. These are going to help guide you on the scope of your project. It will indicate the floor plan, how many levels. It's going to provide you with a room schedule and help determine what signs are needed for each level. As I said, this is an example of the floor plan that you'll receive. It's an example of a current job that we're actually building for Medship. We are working directly with the owner on this project. The facade of the building will have a custom formed plastic logo that Gemini is currently fabricating for us. And I'm in the process of creating the ADA signage for the building. And as you can see in the lower left corner, this customer had chose from one of the series that we will present you. But this is from our luxury series, which consists of 2 layers. They're both acrylic. And the top layer actually is it's a glare-free finish, which is important with our ADA signage. But I'm following Medship's branding colors with this project and just trying to harmonize with the new builds. And we determined what signs were needed based on the floor plans and the room schedule within this blueprint. So it's been a lot of fun working with this customer. I've quite enjoyed it.
So we had a meeting with the customer, the owner of the building, and found out that Medship is a $7 million company or $75 million company. So we chose to recommend the luxury signs for them. The building is only a 2-story building. It's not huge. However, we understand, you know, what their branding is. And so that is one of the reasons that we chose our luxury brand to promote for them.
Went well with the new build. This project was the same developer as the JC Towers project we discussed earlier. This one is called The Porter, and it's located in Lansing, Michigan, which is not far from where I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. You'll notice the specs on this have some branding details that we followed, again, to harmonize the look. I keep saying harmonize because the branding is really important from pulling your project together. And these are things that will apply to all of your ADA signage once we see the scope of the project. Some of the details that this particular customer provided us weren't necessarily ADA compliant. You'll see some of the text here had some different movement to it that we felt were not ADA compliant. So we made some minor modifications, not too bad, and the customer was on board with it. We produced the stairwell signs, the room signs, all of the signage throughout the building. We helped them with their monument sign. It looks like it's a faux monument, but it's actually metal. Per their specs, they really wanted to go metal on this. And we also had the opportunity to do some vinyl windows for them to create some privacy, as you can see there in the lower left corner. The value of this particular project was approximately $26,000. So it was another fun one that we were a part of.
So with this developer, the first project we did was here in Dayton, the 12-story apartment building. Then we did this project in Michigan for them, but we've also completed 2 other projects for them. One here in Dayton, Ohio called The Summit, and another one in Cincinnati, Ohio called Winton House. So developers are great prospects. Once they finish one job, they're going to go on to the next. And if you make them happy, you are going to be their sign company.
So here at ADA Connection, we really want to help you learn compliance and regulations, and we want to help you be the expert. And some of the key things that we focus on with the ADA, with the guidelines per se, we're going to teach you about colors, the sizing, the spacing, and the installation requirements for ADA compliance. We'll talk about signs, and I have a little cheat sheet that I use as I'm building my artwork. And I know that, you know, our minimum margin around the entire sign is 3/8 of an inch. When using pictograms, those should always be 6 inches high, or pardon me, they should be within a 6-inch high space. The materials that we're using are always very important, must have a non-glare finish. You want to always use good contrasting colors. You want a minimum font height of 5/8 of an inch, and raised characters all should be sans serif fonts, all uppercase. So these are just some quick details of how I build my signs and make sure that I'm following those ADA requirements.
So we can supply this information to your designers so that they can design the signs compliant. If you send us the artwork, we can add the braille at the right size and the right spacing. And even though we don't read braille, we can make sure that it reads the same as what the sign reads. If you want us to design the signs, we can do that for you as well. So how do you get these types of projects? So most of us do some type of email marketing. We've hired a company that helps other companies find us online. And so obviously contractors and developers and architects and maintenance people are all looking for that stuff online. You want to talk to your email marketing company about promoting braille signs or building signs or construction jobs, construction signs. Those type of things will bring the leads to you. Your email marketing person will know better what keywords to plug in order to bring the jobs to you. So that's one option. You can also sign up for a contractor lead source, which is something like multifamilydata.com, or through the Blue Book or Builders Exchange, or a couple other organizations that tell about local projects here in Dayton. What those types of lead sources do for you is they will send you emails that tell you the details of a project, who the developer is, what their contact information is, usually who the owner is, what stage they're in that project. And they'll often also tell you whether it's a luxury or market rate property, or even a budget property, so that you have that information as well. But the best place to meet developers and contractors is at some type of a local contractor association. This will give you the opportunity to network and meet people face to face so that you can develop their trust and build rapport with them. These relationships will lead to one job after another, and the contractors and the developers will tell you about upcoming projects as well as projects that they're currently working on. So once you get the lead, you want to meet with this prospect, then you want to ask questions. Just like you do for every other project that you work on, you'd want to ask a lot of questions. Some specific things that you want to find out about these ADA signage projects are what the location is, what type of building it is, whether it's luxury, market rate, or budget. This will give you the opportunity to recommend a certain series of signs for them and find out what their budget is. Show them samples. They love the samples. The samples are their favorite part of your meeting. So ADA Connection can provide samples for you, and then you can take those to your meetings. It's also a good idea to find out when the proposed completion date of the project is, because you need to keep in mind that signs in these projects are the last thing that's to be installed.
So piggybacking on what Jane just talked about with those samples, at ADA Connection, we've created a series of signs that might help you. So we would suggest that you propose to your client a signage level of good, better, or best. And basically what that means is it's three different tiers of pricing. So depending on what type of project you're working on, you can base your good, better, or best series, and you can find that right series that will work for you. We're referring to these as our luxury, modern, or classic series. And when you see on the screen there, that luxury series, that is comprised of it's a 2-level sign, both pieces being acrylic. We love branding, and so we decided to put this particular, this was a church that we worked on for this project, but we put their logo in the upper right corner. We second surface printed a wood texture on that background. And then we also, for the face, that is a non-glare acrylic. We have raised tactile letters in Braille, and also that pictogram is raised in the luxury series. The print, that color print, is second surface. So that was a fun one. The modern series is composed of 2 layers as well. We have the raised number and the raised Braille. That top piece is a non-glare piece of acrylic, and we second surface printed on that to help create dimension. And the back panel is first surface print gray. That's actually a piece of Dibond. And then you have your classic series. So that is basically just a piece of Dibond. The stair pictogram is printed directly on the material along with that green background, but you have your tactile letters and the tactile Braille that follows the ADA compliance. So with this series, if it's something that you're interested in, ADA Connection can provide this sample kit for $69.99. And the cost of that kit will be discounted from your first project order. If you have a custom prototype that you're working on, we can help with those designs. We can take your design and make it come to life, and produce these signs for you. Just a couple sample pieces for just $99.
So as soon as we finish with our presentation, we have some of those samples here, and we'll kind of show them to you in 3D so that you can get an idea of what they look like. So once your prospect is all excited about the samples that you just showed them, you're going to work on an estimate for them and put that together with the information that you have from their blueprints and their sign schedule. There is a program called Sign Agent out there that will help you do that if you get multi-pages of blueprints and you need to know where all the signs go on the blueprints. It's a great program. We can help you with that. It's available to anyone on subscription. After you send the estimate to your project prospect, that's when you want to add them to your CRM system, and you want to follow up, and follow up. You hear this in all your sales classes, and you might not get a meeting right away. Getting the meeting might not be the most fun part of the project or the easiest part of the project, but once you get the meeting, that's when the fun begins. And that's when you want to email them, call them, or text them on a regular basis so that you can work on current projects and upcoming projects that they're working on. Always remember that these projects are often from 3 to 12 months out, and the signs go on the wall after the paint is dry. So finally, we want to work with you and help you make more money. So you can sell direct print ADA signs to developers, contractors, and building owners, in addition to all the signs that you're already selling to these type of customers. As a reminder, ADA signs are required at every permanent space in every building. And these orders are often valued in the high 5 figures or low 6 figures. This is only a portion of these large construction projects, probably less than 0.5%. So what's a great order to us, that the contractor or the developer is happy for you to help them and take over the project for them. Selling ADA signs is fun, easy, and profitable.
And that's it.
So
That concludes the slide show presentation.
we're gonna stop sharing right now, so that we can show you some of the samples that we have right here with us. And Danielle, touched a little bit on the sample kit that we have, and the good sign that we sent you with that kit is printed on ACM or Dibond. It's just a direct print, one color on a colored piece of Dibond. And the pictogram is not raised. It is not required to be raised, but the letters in the Braille are all in compliance and they are raised.
Going to the modern series,
Yep.
you'll see this is a piece that we did for a church. It's made up of 2 pieces of Dibond. The background here is a marble texture print. And we have the logo, of course, following throughout the branding and harmonizing the look. And we have the tactile letters and Braille that also is printed directly on the Dibond.
So this is the sign that you'll get in the sample kit, and it has a background out of ACM or Dibond. The front panel is acrylic, second surface printed with the tactile letters and Braille on the front. If you have specific colors that you want, we can accommodate that as well. And then our luxury series is 2 pieces of acrylic. You can do front surface or second surface print. Remember, we can put logos on every sign because we can print in full color. This one is luxury because the pictogram is actually raised, and the letters are raised with a second surface print on the acrylic. Aren't they beautiful? We'll just show you a couple others, just to get you excited, but this was for another medical facility. We had a neurosurgeon that we actually bought a beech panel. It's beech wood that we put on the background that matched the 9-foot doors in their facility. And then we did the second surface print white with the raised letters and Braille on the front of the acrylic panel that we just mounted to that birch panel. So that would be one of your custom prototypes that you can show your customer to get them all excited.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
There was a project that there was a project we were recently approached with through a Sign World customer. And part of my design process was that I went through the blueprints and took all of the textiles, pulled them into Flexi, created this color profile, and applied these different textures. And it's a really beautiful building. So I hope that we get that project. But these are some of the signs that we approached them with. We sent just maybe a dozen signs just to help them out. But it's a 2-layer. This bottom piece is printed second surface. And then this is another piece of acrylic that's printed first surface. And they have textures that apply into the building. You'll see the raised letters in the Braille, the tactile pieces. But the fun part about the second surface printing is that it really creates this beautiful drop shadow just naturally. And it's one of my favorite things to create. So that was part of the series. Here's another piece, beautiful backgrounds, again, that is applying into the space. And it's funny because I know Jane just showed you that wood piece that we worked on, but this is just, it's printed, it's a printed texture on the back of the acrylic, and that's what we came up with. So that's just three of many other ones that we presented to them, so.
The sky's the limit. We worked with another Sign World owner on a project for a couple buildings where we did some second surface, no, it's a layered acrylic sign. We just used black acrylic on the back, white acrylic on the front, and then we did a raised border and some raised letters and braille. We were able to get, 2 full buildings of
Mhm.
probably over 400 signs to them in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was a tight turn, and yeah, we made it work.
Mhm.
Got a good team here.
Is that normal? Is 3 weeks about your normal timeline?
Well, how do you answer that question with your customers? Generally, it depends. If you give us a due date that you need it, we will do our level best to meet it. You know, we can print a prototype in a day. So a project of 400 signs, you know, we're a little bit dependent on our acrylic supplier and that type of stuff, but it prints very quickly once we get the substrates cut and onto the printer.
Yeah, obviously you guys do great work and I'd love to be able to use you. I'm in California, you're in Ohio. And as you're well aware, most developers and contractors that we deal with for ADAs forget to order ADA signs, call us with a week's worth of notice saying, oh, by the way, I forgot to order my fill in the blank, hook me up. And I'm like, dude, we talked about this last time, right? Remember, you're supposed to give us 3 weeks and they never seem to remember. So therein
Yeah.
lies the challenge, right? Not only is it you're remote, we can complete the art, but we don't know what your backlog is. So that's why we use a local supplier, because we feel like we're at least cutting off the transportation time.
Yeah, well, obviously there would be the transportation time. We have been able to meet every deadline, you know, that we've encountered, and some of them are pretty tight.
Cool. And then how would we get pricing? I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, but I'm just curious. So how do you guys price things out? So we present you shop drawings for scale, build of materials, quantities, yada, yada. And then you would turn around within what, a day or so, a quote
Yeah.
for fabrication, and transportation.
Yes, that is completely correct. We do have the series that we talked about where usually, you know, like the good sign, with the ACM panel is probably gonna run you somewhere around $25. The better with the 2-layer, the ACM with the acrylic is probably gonna run you around $32, $35. And then the best, that's probably in the $40 range with the 2 layers of acrylic, so.
Maybe
Oh.
a Bertrand one.
And
That
then in
one's
terms,
probably gonna run in the 40s. It's gonna depend on the size of the panels as well. But we would give you a custom quote, you know, within a day or 2.
cool, yeah. And obviously, room IDs could match if you wanted it to, whether Braille or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yep.
you could, and we do some pretty unique builds. So obviously you would, you'd quote, once you saw what was involved, how many paint runs and all that other stuff, right?
Well, we don't do paint runs because
No.
we print everything on the printer. So, you know, it's gonna be whether it's printed first surface or second surface, but we don't have to wait for the paint to dry. We can run 4, 5, 6 passes in a day. Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Nice job, ladies. That looks awesome. And as far as all your second surface printing, I assume you're doing that on a flatbed, not with your Mutoh?
No, we do that on the Muto as well.
You do?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that wood grain thing looked awesome. That's gorgeous. So very nice.
Thank you.
Looking forward to getting my samples.
I'll send those out, Dick.
Okay. No rush, just curious.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so the samples that you showed us on the pricing, the wholesale pricing, that was 6x8, or you had all range of sizing?
Those
I'm
are,
trying to understand the pricing. How does the pricing work here?
Well, it is going to be dependent on the size, and obviously
Of
the
course.
larger signs are going to be a little bit more expensive than the smaller signs. Generally, when I quote a project, for example, that MedShip project that Danielle was talking about a little bit earlier, you know, the signs that go in the stairwells and the exit signs, we're just doing single layer, but we'll design them to coordinate with the design of all the other signs. And the restroom signs, you know, they pretty much have to be 6x9 in order to have the
Mm.
required pictogram on them. The room signs, we are gonna add windows for the offices. So, you know, there's still some variables as far as customization and stuff, but the pricing that I gave you is kind of the range for those type of materials.
Yeah, but I recall we had a webinar, ADA webinar, about a year ago or last year sometime, and I think as a rule of thumb, the way this gentleman priced was, I think it was about per square inch, like 1.7 bucks per square inch, like a retail price. I don't know if it makes sense or not.
So sometimes that will make sense, sometimes it won't. When you get into the larger signs that like go in the stairwells, like the 12x18 signs, you're probably not gonna get that much per square inch, but you may get more on the smaller signs.
Right.
Although this is a more economical process, people are used to paying more for the ADA signs, so you're gonna get a good markup on the direct print.
Okay. That motor machine that you have is a new one, right? It's the latest
Yes.
one, the larger, because I think there's two versions, the small one and the
Yes.
larger one. Beautiful.
We had that machine delivered in January.
We have the small motor.
Nice.
We should have waited a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
it's a fun machine, isn't it?
It is.
There's
One
so
last
many
question.
things.
Sorry. One last question. Can you replace the non-glare, which is very expensive, by a coat of matte clear paint? It's still a matte non-glare finish.
Yes.
If you
We
manage
can-
well the painting.
Yes, we can print first surface on a regular piece of acrylic in order to make it non-glare. Remember that the only part that's required to be non-glare is the part that has the ADA on it. If you do a two surface sign like this, the background is not required to be non-glare, and that's why
Right.
it looks a little more upscale, because we were able to do the gloss finish on the background. But yes, on the first surface of a piece of gloss acrylic, you can do a matte print in order to make the sign compliant. If you do a second surface, you will need to use P95 or P99. P95 is a little less expensive than P99, but it has a little bit more frosting on the finish. And so depending on whether you're going to put a logo or some kind of text behind it, it might, you know, affect the look of that image.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we got that sample pack and used it in a presentation. Customer was really excited about seeing all the different things that you guys could do. So thanks so much for that.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry, I missed the part. How do we get that sample pack? Do we order it from you or?
Yeah, you can email me, jane@signconnectioninc.com. I'm in the Sign World list under Sign Connection in Dayton, Ohio, and just email me and I'll send one out to you.
Sheree, can you guys stick that in the chat real quick, her email address, and or can someone do that? I'll just maybe copy
Yep.
paste.
I will absolutely do that right now.
Thanks, Sheree.
Should we show them any other samples or?
You can ask them.
Does anyone want to see any other samples? I know that everyone is busy because I have the same job as you.
I want to see that Bhutal print some more.
Oh, we'll send you a really long video, Dick.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, we were trying to decide how long to make the video and you got to be careful. You have to wear the yellow glasses when you watch it print because, you know, it does have the lights under there to cure the ink.
Can you also send over your mock price list? I do quite a bit of ADA, but I just want to be able to comparison. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Cheryl, do you want to email Jane, just to request that? So she has your email address?
No, I've got it in
Do
the
you have
side
that?
row
Okay.
list, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Is her email in the chat?
Yeah, Shirai was putting it in there. Otherwise,
okay.
I can look you up on the sign world.
All right,
listing.
I'll grab it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any last
Are we-
questions?
Should
Who's
we
one-
show them?
Yeah, we
We've
could
got-
show our best sign. This is the one that everyone loved at the sign show, the Sign World Convention.
So I think I mentioned to you earlier that I love second surface and I love drop shadows and creating depth. So this particular sign is 2 layers that have standoffs and spacers. And so as you walk past it, those cutouts of the cutouts here create this beautiful drop shadow, and it's probably hard to see on screen, but it's one of my favorites that we produced. And then this beautiful little silhouette here. It just turned out great.
How much is that
So
one?
there's so many, the sky's the limits with these. There are so many fun things that you can do, so many fun things that you can cut out and you just make it unique. So
She's waiting to see if anyone has it.
Last
Alright.
question. Do you have, sorry, one more. Do you have like a page with the specs for the ADA? I can send you an email asking for that.
Yep.
We do.
mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
All right, I think that's all the questions. If you have a question you're too shy to ask or anything, I did put Jane's email in the chat. And like she mentioned, she is also a Sign World owner, so she's on the roster of owners contact list, so you can reach out that way, or you can reach out to me and I can connect you guys as well. Jane and Danielle, that was a fabulous presentation. Thank you so much. I think everyone learned a lot. And we have one person asking if you can share your presentation. Is that possible?
We'll try to figure out how to do that.
Okay.
And yes, if we can
Okay,
figure
if
out-
you can figure out how to share, I'll let you know who's asking for the presentation in the email. I'll send you who was attending the webinar today, and then if anyone has any other questions, you can connect one-on-one. But I think that's all for today, and thank you ladies again so much, and thank you everyone for attending today. Hope
Thank
you
you
learned
for
a lot, and this recording will be on the site later today. For you to reference, and everyone have a great weekend and happy Labor Day if you're